What's going on? Is your man Jose, aka the Dominican Dream, for the Boxing Roundtable. We are breaking down the mega fight card coming up this weekend, the most anticipated card, at least of the last few years. Not the most anticipated fight, not one fight, but the most anticipated card, and one of the most stacked cards that we've seen in modern days in boxing in these times. This is the Boxing Roundtable, and we are ready to talk
Boxing.
boxing along with my man,
The Maniac.
and we are ready to talk boxing. Maniac.
Boxing.
Listen, man, everybody knows what's going on this weekend, man. So break it down, man. Break it down. We know we like to get to the heat first here. We like to get to the heat first. There's a lot of good calls on that fight, but there is a main event. People are looking forward to it. Everyone is looking. It's like everyone has their own main event because every fight could be a main event. My main event is gonna be the Virgil fight, right, or the Dubois fight. That's what I'm looking forward to. Some people are looking forward to the Shakur, even though that fight fell through. They're still looking forward to seeing their fighter or one of their favorite fighters in action. Some people are looking forward to the main event, but let's start off with the main event because at the end of the day, it is the main event. Better be a Bevo. Who wins? How? What differences are we going to see from the first fight? No, my bad. Go ahead.
No. We're good. So it's an interesting. We all right. Look, man. The first fight, like I mentioned earlier on the four corners, it was the fight. The first fight was like a trail mix, right? It had a little bit of everything in it, just like a bag of trail mix, with the exception of a knockdown. Now the fight wasn't a classic fight. It wasn't an all-time great fight, but it was a fight that was fought at a high IQ, man. These fighters did a lot in there. They moved well, they made adjustments, and they show skill. They show skill in this fight. I mean, the first fight, again, I was rooting for Better Beef to win. I did slightly have Bevo winning, slightly Beef Better Beef end up getting the decision. I know a lot of people. I know you felt like it was a robbery. A lot of people did as well. You're not the only one. So, a lot of people felt the way I felt as well. That Better Beef pulled it off, or at least it wasn't a robbery. Could have gone either way. The point is this: what adjustments, like you mentioned, what are we going to see in the rematch? So I think Better Beef is going to be Better Beef. It's just he's going to come forward, and he's going to try to, dominate on the front foot. Strong power shots. He could box. He doesn't have the best head movement. So that's to me, I think body work is going to be important for Better Beef in this fight. Why? Because Bevo can move. And one thing that cripples movement in boxing is body work. Body work, body work. Got to make those early deposits. So when we do get to the later rounds, that will slow Bevo down and that will have him, more of a stationary target for Better Beef. But for Bevo, some people going to disagree. I think he got to be more aggressive in this fight, man. I think that's the reason why he didn't get the nod in the first fight, because he kind of gave those championship rounds away. You can't do that in fights of this magnitude. You got to stay aggressive. Now, box, because that's who he is, right? But you got to take chances. You just do. That's in life in general. You're not going to be successful if you don't take chances, if you don't take risk. If Bevo wants to win this fight definitively and don't want no controversy, he needs to take a chance. So he needs to get in there. And I'm not saying for the entirety of the fight for him to sit there and just bang with Better Beef. Absolutely not. That'd be a stupid thing to do. What I'm telling him to do is you get in there, and more often than not, you let him know, listen, bro, I'm not intimidated by you, and I'm gonna let my hands go right up in here. And not fight early like he did in the first fight. The first half of the fight, he'll fight good, and then he'll kind of give the last end of the fight away. And that's where, too, where judges start to say, damn, who do I favorite in this round? And maybe most of those rounds went to better beef. You want to win these rounds definitively. Got to be aggressive. And when you box, make sure you land a couple of shots and make them look good. So I expect Bevo just to be more aggressive in this fight, still implement his boxing ability, his movement, because he is the more superior boxer of the two fighters. So, yeah, man, just be more aggressive. And Better Beef is just going to be Better Beef. I just think he has to just definitely focus more on the body, something he really didn't do much in the first fight. But with all that being said, my heart is with Better Beef. I hope he wins the fight, but I think Bevo edges it in the rematch. I see it, very similar to the first fight, but this time the edge going to Bevo via split decision, and then we get the trilogy at the end. Okay, so yeah, man, I got Better Beef by stoppage. Ralphie, would have been nice for him to get up in here. So yeah, man, it's that's a possibility.
Yeah, Ralph, man. Let me put the link up, man. See if you want to get on.
A stoppage by Better Beef is a possibility, but he has to work the body. He's not getting the stoppage if he's not working that body, man. And all power punchers, fighters who have that power like Better Beef does, they're normally very good to the body, man. And everyone knows, man, once you take the air out the tire, the car don't move the same, man. So he needs to focus on better on Bevo's body and take risks. He's gonna have to maybe lose a round or two early to go up in there to get inside, but that's okay.
Everybody, check on the link. The link is up in the chat if you want to get on and talk live with us. Give us your thoughts, your opinions, man. This is what we do it for, man. To interact with the fans, right? With the subscribers, with everybody, man. And this is such a big fight, man, that I know so many people are looking forward to. It's such a big card. I'm sorry that I know a lot of people want to get on and they want to talk boxing. But yeah, go ahead, Maniac.
Yeah, man. So I'm just, again, that's the main event. And then the co-main event, you already know what they have, man. You got Daniel Dubois defending his IBF title, making his first defense, coming off a very, very beautiful performance and stopping Anthony Joshua, which was for the vacant IBF there. Now Dubois holds, and he'll be defending it against Joseph Parker. Look, man, the heavyweight division, I think everyone will be in agreement that, with the exception of Usyk, it's just been a division of momentum. You win 3 fights, maybe 4, you're bound to lose. It's just so evenly matched at that division that no one is just head and shoulders above the other, with the exception of Usyk. But look, man, Dubois, Joseph Parker is a excellent fight, man. And I think Joseph Parker's going to win this fight. I think he's more fluid. He's the better boxer of the two. Obviously, Dubois is the bigger puncher of the two, which if Joseph Parker, to me, just got to stay out of Dubois' wheelhouse. Make him come. Make him be the aggressor. Because you know what? In return, he's going to make the ball run into something. And we've seen both fighters stopped in their career. So both of them being stopped in this fight is not out the question. I don't think no one gets stopped. I could see both fighters probably meet in the deck, or at least one for sure hit in the deck. But I'm going to go Joseph Parker in this fight. I think it'll be close. I think Dubois, I think he's a little too overconfident. Joseph Parker been on a killer streak too, a quiet one. Dubois has been a little better based on, how he's done it and against who. But I'm going Joseph Parker. I think he takes that strap away from Dubois via unanimous decision in a tough, close fight.
Now, real quick, Raphael, welcome on the boxing roundtable. Raphael is a guy that follows the ins and outs, not only of inside the ropes, but of what goes on outside the ring, the business of boxing, and the everyday, the day to day of boxing, the things that happen in boxing, right? So, hot topic: Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd Schofield. That was all over the internet yesterday, all over the internet today. That's what's in everybody's mouth. Everybody's talking about that. So we got to touch that topic. So to talk about that, Raphael, what do you think of that whole debacle, really, of you know of, of that fight not coming to fruition?
It's strange, man, and honestly, I'm so disappointed because that was a fight that I was looking forward to me to more to like out of all of them the most. Like a lot of people are excited about the Madrimov versus Ortiz or the rematch in between Bebo better be it, but honestly, this was the matchup that I wanted to see. And before I get into pretty much the whole debacle, I just wanted to give you a sense of why I was looking over to that fight is because I feel like the disparity in between the odds were so wide is because the lack of opposition that Schofield has had because he's a prospect. Like, believe it or not, the kid, he's a kid still. He's still developing. But at the end of the day, he passes the eye test with the type of athleticism, his speed, his power, his aggressiveness. Like, he has that it just hasn't been able to develop. Now, my thing is that I've always pretty much stood on is that fighters like Shakur, Haney, like those Hitchens type of fighters, you can't box those type of fighters. You got to make them fight. You got to be very aggressive and trying to kind of like hard nosed type of fight with them and make them fight and see if they got that dog in them, you know. And I felt like Schofield matched them speed for speed and aggressiveness was probably gonna match that. And I just wanted to see how Shakur was gonna respond for that. So I'm very disappointed that the fight didn't happen. Honestly, the whole thing is strange because since the fight was signed, um, Senior has been alleging a bunch of different things about his passport being like mishandled or stolen. They called the cops on him. They planted drugs in their cars. So the things doesn't make sense. What I think is the weight. The weight it just seems to be like is a weight issue. Most likely, the boxing commission in London or the British Boxing Commission out there, they do a 3 day weight check, which they can be over 3% of the actual sanctioned fight weight 3 days before the match, and he's probably was over because he's looked like he's a big kid. So probably they got shocked by that. They didn't know that they weren't on the rules based on the U.S. and they had to pull a fast one out of their ass. They probably said, "Listen, we can't make weight." Either he tried to and passed out, and try saying like, "Listen, they poisoned us." So I mean, I don't know. The whole thing is strange. I'm just deeply disappointed that the thing is happening, and plus, at the end of the day, we don't really know if this kid is gonna get a fight after this, because that's just very unfortunate. But I mean, what do you guys think about this Pat Lee replacement? Like, how do you guys feel about that?
Well, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I don't know who this guy is. I don't recall seeing him fight. I might have, but because I watch all those cards, I watch all the cards on the zone. All those, there's like a million, a million companies, boxing companies that have fights on the zone. But I don't, Pat Lee, I don't know. I'm not familiar with the guy. I do know he's undefeated. I know he has a very low knockout rate. So what that tells me that this is gonna be two things, Ralphie and Dream. It's either gonna be a boring, unanimous decision for Shakur, or Shakur just gonna get him up out of there. And I'm going with the latter. I'm going with Shakur going 12 rounds. Just a unanimous decision, and that's that. The whole Schofield thing. I don't really care about it. I mean, I hope he's fine. Don't get me wrong. I will never wish nothing on any fighter, but it's nothing we can do. We're not getting the fight, and it wasn't the fight I was most eager to see. But Ralphie, I was very eager to see it though. Not the most, but I'm like, oh, because you want to see. Sometimes you want to see young lions in there, right? It's like, for example, a rookie going up against LeBron James. We know who's the better player, but let me see what he could do, right? You never know. So, and like you said, you made a very good point. Normally, those boxers who don't have high knockout rates, you want to get them into a fist fight, right? Get them
Yep.
into the phone booth, drag them in there. Once you drag them in there, then you can really see. We saw De Los Santos kind of try to get Shakur there. He didn't like that aggression. He didn't look good at all. You saw Hitchens with Limos. He showed some dog. He
That's
didn't
what I
look
was gonna.
good at all.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was gonna bring in there.
yes. So Kid Austin definitely presented that type of style for Shakur. Now he doesn't have the experience. It just would have been interesting to just see how it would have went. That's all.
Exactly, exactly, and that's what I was all for. Just like you mentioned, the Lemos versus Hitchens. Like even to me, and I mentioned last time that we went live, I mentioned to Dream, the Madueño versus Keyshawn.
Keyshawn.
Like I was very impressed with Keyshawn because he reacted very well. Like normally those type of boxers, when you kind of push hard nose to them, you don't know whether they're gonna fold or they're gonna fight back. And Keyshawn reacted like quick. It was like I like I'm. He didn't get him out of it. He didn't knock him out, but he was landing combinations in the pockets. With Hitchens and Lemos, you was kind of like, yo, like this guy's supposed to be the goods, and he's like, it looks like he's about. A lot of people had that fight for Lemos. Like there was people that were like undecided, and the match that really comes to mind when I think of those type of matches is Maidana versus Broner. You wanna you want to pound those type of fighters and see what exactly they're made of. And to me, this was the fight that was going to tell me whether he was either a good, if he really had the goods, or maybe, it's all smoke and mirrors with this whole prodigy that we've been marketed towards Shakur. So that's what I wanted to see. That was all. Um, in terms of the other matchups, better be if Bebo. I got better beat by knockout, bro. I got the stoppage on that. I mean, I think a lot of people are leaning Bebo because I think Bebo surprised a lot of people. The fact that he was able to box very well, a lot of people saw him edging him out. I had it 7-5, better BF. It could have been a draw. It could have been 7-5 Bebo. It could have gone either way. I didn't think it was a robbery. It was just too
Yeah.
close. It was just that type of fight. But my argument towards that is that number one, better BF was coming off of a knee injury, so he could only look better going into the fight. Number two, his inactivity, he had not fought for a year, so you don't know how that fighter, is gonna react. And Bibble ended up getting a fight in between, so he was a fresher, more active, more sharp fighter. Better BF now is gonna have a rematch in a shorter amount of time, and now he has the experience of fought this guy once, so his timing much may be better, and he might have the experience and the tools in order to stop him in this fight. That's the way that I see it. Can it go either way? Can Bebo kind of edge him out because he knows what type of fighter it can happen? But my gut is telling me better BF, so I'm gonna go with better BF by stoppage.
All right, man. Look, man, I was, I'm still here at work. I'm done with work now, but I'm still here. I definitely wanted to touch on that hot topic. I know the Maniac, isn't with the gossip and stuff like that, but it's a hot topic, and everybody doing what we do, right? Boxing YouTubers. Instagram. They're all talking about it. I got to talk about it. And you know, quite, look, we've seen a lot of dramatic things go on outside the sport now. When it comes down to fights right outside of the ring, right? We've seen the thing with uh, who was it? Was it Michaela Mayer or was it Sandy Ryan?
Yeah, yeah, it was
Sandy Ryan,
Sandy Ryan.
Right, where someone she was fighting. Who was it that she was fighting?
Michaela Mayer.
Michaela Mayer, and you know someone spilled paint on her outside, and that was on Top Rank ESPN,
Yeah,
right? And then now we see the box of bananas and watermelon for Keyshawn Davis going into the Barenchek fight when no one knows Barenchek. We do boxing hardcores, but people that are like casuals that are hearing Keyshawn's name don't know Barenchek. So that happened going into that fight, Top Rank ESPN. And now this is not Top Rank ESPN, but you know this fight was being hyped up. They've been going back and forth online. Schofield and Stevenson's team for a while. The father of Schofield, Shakur, who you know isn't isn't shy of tweeting or interviews or talking his share of shit. So and then it ends up this way, and a lot of people are disappointed and upset and blaming Schofield. And I think, yeah, I understand that, rightfully so. I think if I was like a really anti-Schofield guy, I would be doing the same thing. But then again, we got to look at what makes sense, Sean. And bro, times ain't easy. Everything is very expensive. Everybody wants money, Sean. Wouldn't you like more money at your job, Sean? Ralph? You know, I know I would. I could use more money. So why, when you look at it from the perspective of common sense, why would you go to a training camp, travel all the way to Saudi Arabia, which is difficult to get to because even Shakur had issues getting there. They tell you a specific date and only you can get there. You can only get there at that.
Yeah, Adames also had that issue.
You have that issue as well. So why would someone go through all that, right? And then you're gonna get the biggest bag of your career. You're gonna be on the biggest stage. You're gonna get the biggest exposure on one of the biggest cards in modern times, and you're gonna pull out at the end because you don't want to fight or you don't want to take an L against a fighter who's not known to have power or be a knockout artist. You could lose a decision, but so what? That doesn't really make sense, man. I don't think they would really do that when you think about it, because, bro, first you missing the bag, and you traveled all the way there. You did everything you had to do. I don't know. I don't know what happened. It's strange. Um, at the end of the day, it was on Schofield's side that they pulled out. But, you know, now we're getting a replacement, and who the Maniac doesn't even know. And, yo, for everybody watching, the Maniac watches everything boxing. If it's a commercial on TV where they got two toddlers with boxing gloves on, he stops and watches it just in case it might be some up-and-comers coming. And he watches everything. So if he don't know who this is, bro, this guy isn't very relevant. Not to say anything about his quality, but we can say something about his relevance. And he's not very relevant.
Yeah.
Shakur at 135. There's something that you mentioned to me before, Sean. You know, not to point the finger so much at him, but let's keep it real. Because you said it, and you said it to me in a voice note on Instagram last night. You mentioned not only Shakur, you mentioned Shakur, Tank, Tio, Devin. We got Ryan, we got Pitbull, we got all these guys, Keyshawn now, in and around the same division, especially when everybody was at 35 and nobody was fighting each other. It's just an online, fuck you, your baby mom ugly, your mom fat, like, but nobody's fighting.
Correct.
Nobody's fighting, man. So we can really point the finger at almost everybody. The only ones that really been with the smoke is the one that we thought was a pretty boy, just the name, and is that's right. He's willing to fight anybody. You
That's
know?
right.
But Tio has probably the best resume because he has victories over Lomachenko and Josh Taylor. But lately he's been on some bullshit too. You know, he's not fighting and he's talking shit to people and not fighting them and talking shit with his own, going back and forth with his own promotion. We don't care. We don't care. Shakur says that no one wants to fight him, that people are avoiding him. Zepeda is avoiding Shakur, Golden Boy, because they know they can't beat him. Zepeda has no power. He's a volume puncher. He's tailor made for Shakur. Yeah, a power puncher like Pitbull, that's a different story. He still got a great puncher's chance, but he don't. He's an accumulative puncher who's not going to be able to accumulate punches. So I understand. But it's still whack that he ducking it. Whatever. So, okay, if you're Shakur, nobody wants to fight you at 135. What is it that you used to say to me, Sean, about Gennady Golovkin at 160 pounds?
Move up. There to be great.
Okay. So at 140, bro, there's guys that's willing to fight you. He said that he's willing to fight Tio because Tio talk a lot of shit, especially he's not racist, but he's talking racist, like he's talking dumb. Like nobody else want to fight him, but he'll fight him. But yeah, he also said that he's staying at 135 for a long time. That he's staying there, and that's where. But then again, you don't want to fight Keyshawn Davis either. So you got to make up your mind, man. If nobody's fighting you at 35, nobody wants to see you fight the I don't even know this dude's name that you're fighting on Saturday. What's his name?
Atlee.
You know why? You know why he don't want to go to 140?
Yeah, but hold on, listen. Before so if that's what's going on in your own weight class, all right, let's say he gets past this guy, which probably is the case. Okay, what's likely next for him at 135, given everything that I mentioned in the politics of boxing? Who can he actually fight? Because he says and Keyshawn, they're not fighting each other, so you can forget about that one. Tank and him, they're not fighting because we know the whole drama and politics behind that. So what else is next?
That's a great question. He's not going to fight Lomachenko. That fight is not going to happen.
Oh.
So those are the other three champions besides Shakur. You mentioned them. Tank, Keyshawn, Lomachenko. He's not going to fight them. So who he's going to fight? Frank Martin? You said Jose.
Frank already
From Martin Movella.
Oh, he went up. Yes, he went up to 140. So forget about it. You know,
have two names. You have two names that are so. They're not even like great names. They're could be exciting, but with Shakur style, you don't know. Number one is Cepeda.
Yeah, he mentioned it.
And Murataya. That's it.
Easy work. Yeah. Easy work. The Cepeda fight, okay. Undefeated, Mexican. You could sell that. Murataya, not an exciting fight. They're both tailor-made for him, especially, I say, Murataya. I don't care to see those fights. And quite frankly, me, given what I just said, remember, Shakur is an elite fighter. I didn't want to see this because Shakur has been given a few interviews as of late, today, yesterday. Said, bro, this kid wasn't ready for the fight. Like, they asked him, Shakur, is he ready? No, he's not ready. He's strong, but he's not ready. Like, he's green, he's very young. Okay, then that's why did I want to see it? Was I looking forward to it? Sure, it's nice, especially to have on an undercard. It was like clamoring for that fight. No, because I know what's gonna happen. I know the outcome. One kid is green, and the other kid is experienced and already a mature fighter, and one of the best in the world. I know what's gonna happen. It's too early for the other kid, so I didn't really care. So it's off. I don't care. Good. That way he doesn't embarrass a so-called killer, because Schofield's not a killer yet. He could be one day, but he's a developing fighter. Shakur should not be fighting developing fighters. I understand he wanted to smoke. They got the fight, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but that's not really what we should be seeing. If anything, we should be seeing Shakur versus Tank and Schofield versus Keyshawn, right? Because these are two even though Keyshawn is a champion, these are two both developing fighters. That Keyshawn only got 13, 14 fights now, right? Schofield got more. The young kid, he's still whipped behind the ears. These guys are puppies. So it's off. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck that it's off, because the rest of the card is still on, it's popping, and we're still going to be able to see Shakur in there. And since you are one of the best fighters in the world, and you are a professional, well, let's see how you do against a guy that you don't know anything about. You know, so that happens. It's boxing. You know, but as far as the melee, Sean, I just wanted to know what you thought about the melee and the whole, like, how can you make sense of it?
Which melee?
Melee with these that he in the hospital, and he was about the.
No. So you see, I don't look.
No, but I mean, like, what kind of sense does it make? In what logic can you find behind the
Yeah, I don't. Well, first of all, just for the record, Senior did apologize about when they first accused um because they poisoned them, the Messiah. That's he debunked that, right? He apologized. He was in his feeling. Yo, DDD. Um, so I just think that me, I don't know what to make of it. Dream, honestly. This is why I don't. You're right. What you mentioned, a lot of that makes sense. Why is it that the week of the fight you're just gonna pull out? Got to fly over there, go through a whole training camp, gonna get your biggest payday, right? It's a lot of it. It's like what to make of it, right? I don't know. So that's why me, I to be honest, it's like, bro, I don't know. Let the story come out. Let's see. Unfortunately, Schofield, there's footage of him, his father, that he's in a hospital bed, got a tube. I just hope that at the end of the day, everything is fine because we just here to watch fighters fight. We talk boxing, we break it down, but we do not want to see anyone hurt in any shape, form, or fashion. So hopefully Schofield recovers and he gets back in the ring. But as far as this whole big circus going on. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. And I know it's gonna kind of sound selfish, similar to you, like the fight not happening. I really don't care because at least he's fine, and that's all that matters. His safety. Whatever happens later down the line, we'll see what they make out of it. But I really don't. It's just crazy, man. I don't recall seeing something like this in
I
boxing.
I'm gonna cling on to the weight thing right now, and it's probably gonna be confirmed once they end up moving to 140, because that's probably gonna be the next step. They're gonna end up moving to 140. But to me, I mean, maybe you guys may know a little bit more than me on kind of like how the weight cuts happen within boxing. I did, I did a little bit of amateur, and I got a sense of how kind of boxers did things on the professional level just by being around boxers from time to time. But like, based on what you guys understand, what do boxers really do in order to cut weight? Do they cut weight X amount of pounds within the last day before the fight, or are they always apart? Because from what I've seen people that fucking they'll cut 10 pounds the night before the fight.
Marski.
So I don't know if you guys kind of see something different.
Yeah, I can't give you when I box has been informally putting gloves on in the street and stuff like that. What I used to do was wrestling. And I was one of the guys that I would walk around in my wrestling weight. So you got some guys that do that, which is 90% of or more boxers don't, and other guys have different methods of shedding pounds at different times. Some maybe I know that of course the last few pounds are always the hardest. So
Right.
um yeah, I don't know what the details are for in general or specifically for anyone's team because everyone may use a different tactic when it comes to that. But I think that is a good hypothesis and really the most viable that it was a weight issue. And it's very unfortunate because he's so young and they should have been ready for that. And that's a lack of professionalism. And sometimes that's what happens when you have a trainer in your corner that father and probably is learning on a job with you.
Yeah, so is a lack of professionalism and not knowing the rules abroad, because I believe the way the sanctioning committee the with British boxing works differently than how they work in the US. In the US, I don't think there's a 3-day weight check. In the UK and Saudi, I think that was the main issue. I think they got caught with their pants down because they were supposed to be getting checked 3 days before the official weigh-in, and
Mama, appreciate you.
they should have been below the 140 threshold if they were fighting at 135, and that was the issue.
Well,
So
I think here they also do it depending on the state, depending on what commission you're fighting for. They do have probably a weigh-in um, a few days before, maybe even a week or two. Uh,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think
and
I think a 7 day
uh,
wait, 7 days.
and then they have the weigh-in that we see is really ceremonial because they already been weighed in. Either way, enough about that. We all gave our opinions, our thoughts on that. Unfortunate that it happened, but maybe fortunate. People are saying, "Oh, this is it's over for Schofield. He never gonna get another a shot." I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he's gonna keep. He's with Golden Boy, and Golden Boy's working with Turkey and the zone heavily. So look for him to headline. Look for him to co-feature. He gonna be all right. But setback definitely, and whack. It's whack. Because that added a certain spice to the card. But again, I don't think he was ready for the fight anyway. And if that was the case, I'm sure they would have. They weren't gonna go through all that to then realize 3 days going into it, we're not ready. And while you already in Saudi Arabia, you know. Anyway, look, better Bevo, the rematch, Madrimov versus Virgil Ortiz, Secure Stevenson now versus Padley, Zhili Zhang, Joseph Parker versus Daniel Dubois. I'm gonna go ahead and bring my favorites down, man. And my favorites are Virgil Ortiz versus Madrimov. This is an intriguing matchup. It's an intriguing matchup because it's gonna draw a lot of comparisons, right? People want to compare Virgil Ortiz to Terence Crawford and his performance against Madrimov. We know that Terence Crawford wasn't able to shine against Madrimov. He still showed he's a good fighter, won a close fight, tough fight. It was like welcome to 154, buddy. Kind of result that he got. He didn't duplicate the Spence performance, and there's a reason why he didn't duplicate that performance because the same people that are saying he's gonna go up and school Canelo and knock him out, he ain't do that shit to Madrimov, so why would he do that to someone at 168? Weight classes matter. That being said, I think Madrimov, he has a tricky style, herky jerky. He has great movement. He does have power when he does throw his hands, but he's not a volume puncher. Most of those East European or Central Asian guys aren't volume punchers, but he can pop. He can box. He is tough, but he's going to be fighting someone who's his own size, who's probably better acclimated at 154 than Terence Crawford, who has a 99, 95%, 90% knockout ratio, who can box and punch. And he's not scared or embarrassed to say, okay, I got to box now because this guy can punch too. Or I gotta walk him down because that's what I like to do. He's fighting Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz is really a complete fighter. And I want to mention something else about that real quick. And that it really pisses me off. When we see fighters like Beterbiev, when we see fighters like Virgil Ortiz, when we see fighters like Jesse Bam Rodriguez, when we see fighters even like Benavidez, that aren't known to the mainstream because they don't talk shit, because they're not on that hood, yo, ghetto, hood, ignorant shit. Like, that's what y'all like. That's what everybody's on. Guys like that only have a few fights and got like 12 fights, like someone like Keyshawn or Berlanga or something, that they real loud and on social media. They get so much hype, so much coverage. And yet these guys that are skilled, exciting fighters, willing to fight anybody, fight with balls, people don't even know who they are. How the fuck can Virgil Ortiz, who except one fight, all of his other fights were won by knockout, if I'm not mistaken, right? The only person knockout was Bo Hachuk. And what he gets in a tough performance is when he's running through people, you don't hear anybody talking about it. But when he had a close fight with the ridiculously tough, big, strong Bo Hachuk, everybody's talking about it. You see, he ain't nobody. He had that was a draw. He got Bo Hachuk got robbed. People love to hate on fighters that threaten their fighters, on fighters that they know could possibly beat their fighters, but don't have the star power. And it's really disappointing. It's really annoying, man, because fighters like the ones I mentioned, they should be they should be the ones that when you walk into your job, Maniac, they ask you, yo, who's that dude, Virgil Ortiz, man, knocking him. Yo, who's that dude? Better be at no, his was by knockout. Yo, who's that dude? Jesse Bamrock. They're not asking you that. They're asking you about, yo, you think Davis could be? You think Keyshawn could be Tank Davis? No, because the motherfucker only got 14 fights. He got potential. But he ain't beating no fucking Tank. But that's what people are talking about. They're talking about the wrong things, man. Social media, fuck that. I'm tired of that. But I had to put that out there. And I'm glad we're seeing real fighters fight, man. Real fighters that they're clawing their way to the top by performances, by what they're doing in the ring. Virgil Ortiz, he doesn't talk. He don't talk shit. But he knocks everybody out. What else do you want? A fighter that's 18 and 18 knockouts, 19 and 19. What else do you want in the fight? That's what you want. You know? So it's annoying that the people that do this are the ones that sell rather than the ones that do this. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. That being said, I think, of course, Madrimov has movement. You know, he can be tricky. But I think that if Virgil Ortiz, and this does matter, health matters in everything you do. If Virgil Ortiz is the same as when he fought Bohachuk or better, we know that he went through the horrible almost 2 years off with the illness, the rhabdomyolysis. If he's fine, only better, I'm going to go with him to win. I'm picking him to win, and I'm going to go with him to stop Madrimov because I think Madrimov, you know, he's the kind of fighter that he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to really bang and engage. That's not his style. He has that amateur style, right? That Uzbek. He had a lot of amateur fights. I don't think he's going to be able to withstand that pressure. Virgil Ortiz is one of those guys, Sean, that we can put him in the same class as Benavidez, as Tank Davis, as Beterbiev. You have to walk through fire. They're going to test you with that fire. I don't care if you don't want to get in the kitchen. They're going to drag you in there. They're going to make you exchange because they want to see. That's what they like to do. They like to. They enjoy knocking people out. They're going to see if they can do that to you. If they can't, they're very good fighters. They got a plan B. But that's what he's going to try to do. Make no mistake about it. And I think he's going to be able to intelligently with the best trainer. That's another thing we have to remember. He has the best trainer in boxing in his corner, Robert Garcia. I'm confident in him to win, and I'm looking for him to shine against Madrimov. And, people are going to draw comparisons. But, again, I think people are going to see that size matters. And Virgil Ortiz at 54 versus Madrimov is a real 54-pounder, and Terence Crawford ain't no Superman. So, that's that. Yeah. Beterbiev versus Bivol. I've been a Beterbiev fan because I've been watching his fights from when he was like 3 or 4-0. I like his style better. He's an aggressive fighter. Despite being an East European fighter, he is the guy that throws a lot of punches. He's a guy that's in tremendous shape. He's fighting a fellow, not a fellow Russian, from Kyrgyzstan, also Russia. Dmitry Bivol, who's a terrific boxer. But Sean, you nailed it earlier. He's hot and cold. And that's one of the reasons I'm not a fan of Bivol. He's good, he's very good. But he's hot and cold in the sense of, when he's hot on you, when he's attacking, he looks great. But he likes to take his foot off the gas. He's okay with cruising. And I don't like fighters that are okay with cruising. If you can execute and take somebody out, do it. Right? And that's all the greats. Muhammad Ali, Manny Pacquiao, Mike Tyson, De La Hoya. You know why they were not only greats, but fan favorites? Because there's a difference between being great and a fan favorite, is that they took risks. They took risks. And Beterbiev lacks that. He lacks that fifth gear. And that's one of the things I don't like about him. However, unfortunately for Beterbiev, he's 40 years old. He's had multiple surgeries. He's had time off, injuries, and he's been on a decline. Now, you disagree with me in the past, Ralph, But I've seen, and I've been telling Sean for the last few fights, even though he's won and won by knockout, he's shown slipping. He's shown decline.
No, I agree. I agree with you there. I agree
And
with you there.
and I think that in this fight, the younger Bivol, with the more he has more tools in the toolbox, and he does have power. Does he like to use it like Better BF? No, but he does have it. Believe me. I think that Better BF, like Maniac said earlier on his other show, and he's not gonna be able to duplicate that performance. You know. And one other thing I didn't like about that I actually don't like about Better BF, and I don't like this about boxers. They asked him about Bivol or about Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. He said, "I'm not a fan of boxing. Like, I don't watch boxing, but yeah, whatever. I watched. He said I watched it. I'm interested in watching Crawford Canelo. You don't watch boxing. You're not a fan of boxing. To me, uh, that's an oxymoron, bro. This is what you do. You're supposed to be you're supposed to have your head in the books. You're supposed to be watching tape. You're supposed to be watching box. So I don't like that. I don't like when fighters say this is what you do, man. I don't like when fighters say that. Whatever. If it works for him, he doesn't watch tape. He takes on all comers. Whatever. I don't know, but I really don't like that. And for you to say that you're not a fan of boxing and you are a top fighter, I don't know, man. I don't like that. And you know what? I wanted him to win. But after he said that shit, bro. I don't mind if he gets his ass whooped. But either way, I still am picking Dimitri Bivol, and I'm picking him by decision because again, even if he does hurt Better BF, he's not gonna stay in the kitchen long enough to find out if he can get hurt back. You
Can
know.
I say something about? Can I say something about that?
Uh, uh, yeah, real quick, and then I'm gonna move on to
Yeah,
the.
yeah. Very, very quick regarding him not watching boxing. If you guys watch Un Round Mas, I think not Eric Morales, Barrera does the show for like in
Yo,
Spanish speaking, he brings over like boxers and stuff.
Yeah. I've seen him. He hit the one he does with Barrera and Morales.
Yeah, so
yo,
he had a guy in recently that was training pretty much with kind of like the Russian camp, and this might explain exactly that sentiment that you're getting that you might not like. There's boxers that kind of are immersed in boxing. They love boxing. They want to be around it. They're gonna be at the gym. They're gonna watch tape because they're just enamored by the sport. And then there's just other people that they're doing it because they have to do it. Because like better be if he's from fucking Chechnya. If you know about Chechens, like I have Russian friends and they're telling me like, yo, those are like the warriors of Russia. Like these are the dudes that they're dirt poor, they have nothing, and that's the only way out. The one of the guys, I'll send you guys a clip. He was talking to Barreras, this Mexican guy. Forgot his name. He was saying that he was in a training camp with these Russians and people from Ukraine, and he was kind of like trying to like during camp or like out of like the gym trying to invite them out to like go out, hang out, go out to a cafe, like just kind of like do something social so you can get your head out of a boxing. And one thing that he kept saying, like these guys are coming from Eastern Europe, like they were kind of like, no, I'm sorry, I gotta get up in the morning and train, or I gotta go watch tape, or I gotta do this. Because you know why? Like dudes in Ukraine, if you come and you lose one or two matches, guess what's going on? There's a war out there. They'll fucking ship you right back. That's the only thing that you got. Like you don't really know what
But
these people.
you're trying to say that because of that is why he doesn't watch boxing because he's so focused on this training that he doesn't watch boxing. But again, this is what you do, and you learn about other fighters in your division. You learn about the business of fight.
Yeah, but you have to look at it from another perspective where there's boxers, particularly from that side of the region, that's their only way out. Like us as Americans, we have we're very fortunate that we get to choose. We have those options to make money in other means. Like these people, like that's boxing is the only thing. And he's been open about it that like, I punch people in the face because I have to. I don't even like doing that shit. And you see how he is. So there's just a different mentality around it. Like that dude, he's doing it because
I
he
mean,
doesn't have any other way.
I don't know if that's necessarily completely the case. You know why I don't know that? Even though I'm not from there, but I am from a developing nation, right? It was doing much better now. You're from there too, Dominican Republic. I know what the hardships people go through, and people got to do whatever they got to do to make it happen. But there's a distinction there. If that's the case, they would come. They would do what the Cubans do much early and leave those countries. And if they can do it, because when you fly abroad, bro, you can get lost. You can do it. They don't do it. They stay and they fight amateur until they're 35 years old, and then they turn professional. Right. So if it's about money and about doing something for you, you would do it much earlier. But they don't do that. They really value the honor in fighting amateur and winning titles for the country and stuff like that. So they're not really doing it just to eat
I
because
I
it's they're very
I
people.
I think the culture is a little bit different. You have to see pretty much what are the Eastern influences out in Eastern Europe, like Russia, like the media, everything that's installed
And,
within the
and,
culture, and
and you know why I say that? Because there's a lot of East Europeans that live here that aren't athletes.
yeah,
So
no, that is true.
I grew up with some people from the Ukraine, people from Lithuania, people from Poland. Where I grew up in Lakewood, New Jersey. So they can come here if they can immigrate here if they wanted to earlier to make that money, but they choose to stay amateur. So I think they might have different motives behind it. That's just my thing. But moving on, Joseph Parker versus Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois has been on a hot streak. Joseph Parker has been in kind of a period of renaissance, right? Coming back, winning fights. They're both gentlemen. I love both guys. What I don't love is the style of Joseph Parker. He's another hot and cold fighter. He's strong. He got power. He can knock anybody out, but he doesn't. He don't like to execute like that. That's not really his style. He likes to move around a little bit. He likes to kind of just cruise, and I don't like that. But I think he can make life difficult for Daniel Dubois, particularly if Daniel Dubois goes in there sleeping on him. I think he can't go in there sleeping on him. I think he has to stay focused. And if he brings the same focus and he pairs that with training, that focus and that determination along with his youth and just him being on the hot streak, I think he wins the fight. Um, if it was a fight in a lower weight class, I would say I would pick Dubois by decision. But because it's heavyweight, I think that if Dubois wins, it'll most likely be by knockout. Because if it goes to decision, I can see him having a hard time with Parker. So I like Dubois by stoppage. I think he knocks out Joseph Parker. And about Zhilei Zhang and the other guys, I don't know Caballero. I haven't seen him fight. I seen Zhilei Zhang. He comes to cook. He is 42 years old or something like that. But he's a phenom, man. The Chinese guy for that age to be fighting at heavyweight and still doing well. And we also have the Dominican Carlos Adames, and he's fighting. What's the dude he's fighting?
Hamza Shiraz.
Right.
I'm so sure.
Listen, Carlos Adames, a guy that looked good, had a lot of potential early on, but he's another guy that likes to cruise. You mentioned it earlier, Sean, off air. He can win if he lets his hands go. If to be successful, to quote Roger Mayweather, rest in peace. They asked him, "What do you have to do to be successful in boxing?" He said, "You gotta let your fucking hands go. Let your fucking hands go, motherfucker." You know what I'm saying? So if you do that, you take risks. You do that. Not only will you have a better crowd pleasing style, but you'll have an increased chances to win fights. Especially when you have athleticism and power like Carlos Adames does. So, that's that, man. What do you guys think about those fights and about everything else I said? And any other points, man?
I'll tell you one thing. If Adamas doesn't knock out Hamza, that belt is staying out there. because the fight that Turkey seems to be angling, and we've seen it on the kind of like the papers and the rumors have gone out, is that Turkey is most likely going to try and push Hamza in 2026 versus Canelo. If he tries to get Hamza, if he wins, of course, because things have to play out the right way. If Hamza ends up winning the belts from Adames, they're gonna try to make undisputed or trying to get those belts from Janibek, and gonna try to lure Canelo in, or bring them up into 168 versus a Canelo fight in early 2026. So that's the angle there. So Adames needs to knock him out, otherwise those belts are staying out there. In terms
So
of Dubois,
let's do this. Let's run it down. Let's run it down right here down the line. The whole card. If you haven't memorized all the fights, which you might, but if not, just give us real quick run through all
So
the.
look, I started the show. First of all, Marmar. We like Tank. We think he's very talented, but he just needs to step up his competition. So as far as the car goes, I already broke down the Better Be Bevo, the Joshua Dubois. I mean Parker, excuse me, Joseph Parker Dubois. So just real quick down the line. Virgil Ortiz Madrimov, I mean, hell of a fight. Like you said, I think this is a fight where activity might bite Madrimov in the ass, and I think that at the end of the day, it's not that he's not he could compete with Virgil Ortiz. I just it's gonna come down to he just didn't do enough to win the fight. Yes, Virgil Ortiz has the key factor. He has the wild card, which is Robert Garcia. Virgil Ortiz has also showed a different element in his game, which is boxing. You saw in the Bohachuk fight, right? But he had to because he just couldn't outdog Bohachuk. This dude was big and strong. Adramov is strong as well. Different style of fighting, but when you look at it, fighter for fighter, I think Ortiz just has a little more in his toolbox than Madrimov has, and I'm slightly picking Virgil Ortiz to win that fight. But that's gonna be it. Could go either way, man. It's gonna be interesting to see how Virgil deals with Madrimov's movement. Then you also have the Shakur versus Patley. Like I said, I never see Patley fight. I just gotta go Shakur, just decision. Really nothing to break down there. Hamza Shiraz, Carlos Adames for Adames WBC title. Look, man, I know Dream mentions it many times. There's a lot of fighters from these countries that are just not known for fighting. Hamza Shiraz is from one of those countries that are not known for that, but he can fight. He has power. I think Adames will have to jump on him early and often to let him know, listen, this is a different game. If Adames is just there pity patting, moving, he's going to get fried. Hamza's going to fry him.
The dude that fought Bevo?
Huh?
Is that the dude that fought Bevo?
No, no. He fights in the lower class.
Right, the
These
Arab
guys at
dude.
160.
And there was another the other Arab dude that he got it shaken with Bevo. He lost, but he got it shaken with him.
Yeah. Author something. I forgot the name.
yeah, now this guy looks like a heavier version of Sebastian Fundora.
Yes. Now Hamza's tall. He's 6'3".
Yeah,
Listen, he's listen. It could get ugly for Adames in
yeah,
this fight, man.
yeah.
He better come to fight. And then you have Big Bang Zhang versus Kabayel. Now Kabayel, he's been up and coming. He's been slowly beating other undefeated heavyweights coming up. But I'm gonna go with Big Bang in this fight. I think he does enough. The thing with Big Bang, his gas tank, he tends to die out late in the fight. He had Joseph Parker, dropped him twice in that fight. But he's the one that kind of just took his foot off the gas, hence why he lost that fight. That just tells you drop a fighter twice and you still lose. So you was just getting outboxed. So I think Zhang has to jump on Kabayel early, similar to Dame and Shiraz, to let him know, look, youngin, I'm not the one. But if this is a fight, gentlemen, where we in the 10th, 11th round, it might be Zhang losing a close one. But I'm gonna go Zhang decision. And then
Boatsy Callum Smith.
So Buatsi, Colin Smith, right? Colin Smith, for those that are not familiar, he lost to Canelo. He got stopped by Better Beef, which is two losses that you have absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. These are two pound for pound fighters. Colin Smith is the better boxer. He has that reach. He has a phenomenal jab. Buatsi's kind of like a freestyle fighter. He could punch. I believe he's like 18 and 0, 13 knockouts. So he doesn't have the best. He's not the sharpest when it comes to boxing ability, but he's strong and he shows dog. He comes to fight. So it's gonna be interesting, man. Can he get on the inside of Colin Smith and outwork him? That's gonna be the question. I'm gonna say no. I think Colin Smith's his boxing ability, his reach, his jab, and his experience gets him to win in this fight. But I think it's gonna be a very close fight, and I got Colin Smith winning. So yeah, man. That
Decision or knockout?
decision. Colin Smith decision.
Okay, because he could punch. Callum
Yeah,
Smith could punch. I think Boatsy can make it a little bit boring by holding and just making it a sloppy fight. But we'll see. I can kind of see Boatsy edging that out. I don't think he has learned how to lose yet, so he might be kind of like the mentally fresher fighter. Especially the fact that Callum Smith, I think he had one fight after the Better Be have lost.
I believe.
Uh,
Yes, I believe he had one.
so we just gotta see how he comes. I got Buatsi edging that out. I have Stevenson by decision. I got Madrimov over Virgil Ortiz by decision. I'm going against the grain on this one. I just feel like
No,
Ortiz,
it could go. It could go either way, man. It's gonna be a tough
yeah,
fight for Virgil.
yeah, I feel like Virgil Ortiz coming up was fighting a lot of fighters that either were not really 154 pounders. They just pretty much put them in there to get
But,
them
but,
acclimated
but
to the weight.
wait. He was at. Oh, I thought you meant coming up in what in his career or when he came up to 54.
When he came up to 54.
Okay, yeah, when he came up to 54, remember he was coming off of the illness, and
Yeah,
they eased him back into
right.
fighting.
Correct. Correct. And going into the Bohachuk fight, I had said, yo, something gives me a feeling that he hasn't seen enough rounds and enough competitions against a legitimate 154 pounders, and this guy might upset or they might rob him, and it was that type of a close fight. I'm not gonna say that he got robbed or anything. It was a close matchup, but a lot of people kind of felt a very, they had a lot of questions in there. So I think Madrimov uh might upset him. I mean, that's how I see it. In terms of I already gave you guys my answer regarding Hamza versus Adames. I think Hamza is gonna keep that belt out in Saudi, and I got Daniel Dubois riding out that momentum against Parker and hopefully getting that second matchup versus
Usyk.
Usyk for undisputed. He's hopefully he gets that rematch. So we're gonna see. And I already give you guys my Better Be It versus Bivol prediction. I
Yeah,
got
you
Better
said
Be It
better
by
be by
stoppage.
stoppage.
By
Okay.
stoppage, yeah.
All right. So there you have it. We definitely gonna do the immediate post fight. It's gonna be a lot to talk about.
It
And
starts.
how,
It,
how, how from one to 10, real quick. How excited are you, Maniac, for this card?
On a scale from 1 to 10, about 12.
There you go. Yeah, he's very excited for that. How about you, Ralph?
I'm not gonna lie. that Shakur Schofield. I don't know you guys. I know you guys don't feel the same, but to me that was a big of a letdown because I was very interested in that fight. So I'm about at a 7.
Okay, I would say that I'm at a 9. I'm at a
It's
9
good.
because we have some very
It's
good
good.
names, but
Yeah.
there still could be they could be better because they could be top fighters, the ones that we want to see fight each other hot right now. So it's a little bit below that, but it's still a very good card. Looking forward to it. And real quick, man, the people are watching, man. So Mark Marcy says I said the same thing about Tank. He fights okay boxers, not boxers that will really challenge him. If Tank retired today, would any of you put him in the Hall of Fame?
No.
No,
Me? No. You, Maniac?
no.
No.
You,
No.
Ralph?
No. No. I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
So there's your answer, man. And again, no hate. We like Tank as a fighter. We think he's a very good fighter, explosive, power, can box. He got all the tools in his tool.
Everything, everything. He has everything. And we said it, Mama. We said it on the show. By the way, that's my man. I'm also a co-host at a college football podcast. That's where I met Mama. He's a big Michigan fan like me. But he also likes boxing. He's like, yo, I want to follow your stuff, man. I want to. So he subscribed to the channel and expect him to be checking in. So he's asking, and Mama, we mentioned Tank here. We're fans of Tank. We like him, honestly. But again, truth, we speak truth here. We don't speak hate. We speak truth. And anyone that, and look, you see it yourself, Mama. He's just not fighting fighters he should. He's at 30 years old, and he hasn't had one legacy fight yet. So that should already tell you. And it doesn't look like he's anywhere near close to fighting a legacy fight.
Yeah, and that's real unfortunate. But again, that's part of the politics of boxing, which are now being fixed by Turkey Al Sheikh, and we love it. That's the reason we're getting this card. That's the reason so many things are happening in the sport, and it's beautiful. We like it. I don't give a fuck if it's in Beijing, China. I don't give a fuck if it's in Japan. I don't care if it's in Saudi Arabia. If we get the fights we want, that the boxing world wants to see, that's what you got to be happy about because most of you people ain't going to the fights anyway. I don't go to any fucking fights. I got work to do, but I'm not gonna stop making money to go give motherfuckers money who in the sport that they value the fans the least. I'm not gonna stop making money to go give them money, right? Because of how they treated us for all these years. But what Turkey's doing, man, look, how much is this pay-per-view, Sean?
I think in the
$26.
the 20s, 20
Yeah.
something dollars.
Yo, so you were getting Daniel Dubois, Virgil Ortiz, Joseph Park, Shakur Stevens, Floyd Schofield, Adames, Zaylee on one card for 20 something dollars. That means you know what that means? That I'm not streaming this fight. I'm paying for it. So I got you, Maniac. I got the Maniac's zone. I'm gonna send the Maniac that the whatever the thing is to pay for the fight because you gotta have the zone already. I got it because it's worth it. And the person behind it is being considerate. He's not giving you shit on a stick, right? Where the main card is gonna be, let's say Canelo Crawford, and then the rest of it is garbage. And then they're gonna charge you $89.99, right? Not Tank Davis fighting the Lamont Roach. That shit's gonna be $80-$90, and the undercard is trash. And I ain't paying for that, So shout out to Turkey Al Sheik. And more things are changing in boxing, and it's a very exciting time to be a diehard boxing fan right now because things we're actually seeing a shift, and that's something that we thought we're only in a dream that it would happen. That someone with a billionaire or someone with an endless bank account would pick boxing up and do right by it, and that's exactly what's going on. Anyway, share, like, subscribe to Boxing Roundtable. Tune in for the immediate post-fight show. Don't miss that card on the zone this weekend. Unfortunately, a little blemish on it. The Shakur fight is off. I know a lot of people wanted to see that, but it's not a complete a miss because he's still gonna be fighting. So
True.
Before we go, final question. Do you guys think that if Better Be If wins, do you think that Benavides jumps into the ring?
let
Yeah,
but
yeah.
let
Because
me
he's gonna be there. So better Benavides is gonna be there live. Turkey invited him. Front row. So
yeah.
you know what Turkey's already trying to make. He's gonna it better be wins. That means he's 2-0. We won't get the trilogy. Benavides will get in that ring. Or, Benavides, like, people might think he's that type of guy, or he just might talk shit from outside. If they talk shit to him, he doesn't really initiate.
No,
Benavides is not that kind of guy. Unless you start and he's like that.
he
He's
would
about that action.
do it.
So
He would smoke.
yeah. And Better Beef, and Better Beef is not that type of guy neither. So I could see where Benavides does get in the ring, but respectfully.
Of
And they're
course.
gonna like, yeah, man, let's do it. And Better Beef is gonna say, let's do it. And oh man. Ooh, better.
But
Ooh, ooh.
one thing I really want to say about that, I don't want to see a trilogy, man.
No,
I'm not interested in the trilogy because Better Behave's already had it, man. He's at the end of his career. So even if Bevo wins, Turkey should pause. All right, we'll revisit that. Y'all both made money. Y'all fought 2 fights back to back. There's no need. No one's gonna be clamoring for a third fight, especially right after this one to headline again. Nah, I don't want to see. We want to see Benavidez versus the winner. I don't care. I don't care who wins. So
but
will he get in the ring? I don't know if he'll get in the ring, but if Turkey wants him to get in the ring, yeah, he'll get in the ring. But he's not gonna go up there to call out.
no,
You know,
no, no. He's not gonna, and like I said, if he gets in the ring, it will be respectfully. He'll just get there. He's not gonna get in Better B's face. He's just gonna be there, and they're gonna be like, Turkey, this fight here, Benavides and Better B, we gonna make big Ria season,
yeah.
and
So
and give me another stat card behind it, and I'm gonna be like this, Birdman,
right,
rubbing them hands together.
and that's a fight that we've touched on, and we touched on Benavidez, but Benavidez, he's doing right by his nickname. He is a monster, and even if I used to have Bivol over him, and it's still a tough fight, but he's just a monster, man. But I think at 175, them dudes is different, man. It's different. It's different up there.
It
So
is.
you got to go into this. You got to really consider a lot of shit when you break down those fights, man. But we're not gonna get into that now.
No.
But I would like to see Benavidez versus the winner. That's my answer.
Yeah, the only reason I'm pushing for Better BF to win that match and there's no trilogy is because knowing how dirty the fucking sport is, I know exactly what would happen, which is you have trilogy, Bebo wins a third match, and then you have a Canelo rematch in 2026, Xing Benavides out. Because I know that shit is what and the public is gonna see that he's gonna get done dirty. And I know that's what people don't like to hear, but this is what's on the balance right now if uh he loses, if Better Be It doesn't win that match. So let's see. But
All right.
guys, have a good night. It was nice talking to you guys and looking forward to talking on Saturday.
All right, man. Share, like, and subscribe to Boxing Roundtable.